prediction, 28% actual, 49% large-scale adoption in North America, against what they're seeing as 36% adoption in Europe. But the figure down there is perhaps the interesting one, is showing that those practitioners of BIM, or who say they've been using it for more than 5 years, 18% in North America, 34% in Europe. So of the people using BIM in Europe, a third have been using it for more than 5 years. So this is sort of closet BIM. This is small scale, what some people will call lonely BIM or single BIM. It's not yet taking off within the industry as it has in the USA. There are signs that might be changing. Some months ago, the UK government appointed Paul Morrell, who had recently retired as senior partner of Davis Langdon, so big QS practice, to be chief construction advisor. And he is developing a set of recommendations to put to the UK government by end of next March. And this is from a recent article on him, based on his presentation at a one-day conference on BIM put on by Autodesk at the end of September, to which they were hoping to get 100 people. They closed the books at 450 because of the size of the venue, and nearly 400 turned up. So, yeah. But Paul Morrell, we have commissioned a team drawn from BIM users across the industry, both clients and suppliers and software developers, to prepare a route map that shows how we can make a progressive move to the routine use of BIM. I'm convinced that this is the way to unlock new ways of working that will reduce cost and add long-term value to the development and management of built assets in the public sector. Now that team has 7 work streams. I sit on the core group myself, but looking at a variety. I won't go through them one by one, but you'll get a flavour that they're trying to look at a number of different facets of BIM, and certainly it's not just techie stuff. We're getting far beyond that now. We're also almost enshrining it in the status quo of the industry. So we're now beginning to see reports coming up, for example, jointly authored or jointly published by Building Smart, which, if you like, is a ginger group in this, but also by BSI, British Standards Institute, which is certainly the institution, right? So this one, constructing the business case for BIM. Not a British standard, but coming out with their imprimatur on it. Earlier work was done, and apologies if this is a bit fuzzy. It's my own fault for grabbing web pages. The pathfinding was done maybe 10 years or so ago, starting in Singapore through a program called CoreNet, Construction Real Estate Network, where Singapore started to require design information to be provided for building regs checking in certain electronic formats, taken on by Norway. So Norwegian Directorate of Public Concentration and Construction and Property deciding to use BIM within its work, and leading to the sorts of software that we've seen. So there's Revit, Tekla, Archicad, Bentley, CATIA, leading to, though, a number of magazines coming out. So here's one, the BIM Journal, just for the Middle East, the BIM Journal in the Middle East. It's an online magazine. You can all Google it and find it. In paper terms, the Journal of BIM from North America. Obviously, there's enough going on now to warrant people making money out of journals. Let me flip on. Within Halcrow, we've had a journey ourselves on the transport side, for example, a progressive evolution of, I'll call it BIM, but it's really information integration, through Safe and Docklands light railway projects in London, through to Crossrail, through to a year or two ago, the total redesign of Tottenham Court Road underground tube interchange, where we've been working within a common framework. You know, this isn't using a particular program or set of programs, but it's pulling together value engineering, environment and sustainability, buildability, health and safety, risk management, etc. Now, the crying shame really is we worked in this way because it was efficient and effective. When it came to the end of our job, this was a traditionally procured project with design fees, I would guess, of £20 million. So big, you know, nice little earner, as you might say. The contractual requirement was to hand over 2D paper, and we were forbidden to hand the model or any models over to the contractors. So we're a bit disjointed at the moment. Crossrail, just a schematic of Bond Street Station, just to show that not only is there a lot of tunnel work and etc. underground, but increasingly underground stations are really just buildings put into the ground. Some of you may have seen the cheese drawing attributed to Mark Bew and Mervyn Richards of a progression through from CAD through to BIM, aiming towards so-called integrated, fully interoperable data. Personally, I think we're somewhere in the middle there at the moment. A lot of people, I talk to my North American colleagues, they say, yeah, every project we do was done in BIM. Well, actually, every project they do is done in Revit, and there's a big, big difference. They're starting to explore 3D and 4D, but actually, BIM doesn't need to. BIM can be done in 2D. It's just the discipline of integrating information. So a few pretty pictures to finish, and then some final points. Just an example of a project that my colleagues in Canada are doing. This is Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and in Canada that of course really means native North Americans. So a highly symbolic building somewhere in the wilds near Winnipeg. When I say symbolic, Tower of Hope, cloud, okay, offices, a wedge in a canyon, etc. With some weird and wonderful shapes. I can't guarantee it. I think this might well be a Geary building. And if you work with Geary, you've got to work with a discipline of chaos, I suppose. And again, yes, I mean, this is just a month by month cut through, but the information is behind this to allow whatever detail you like, and it all looks very pretty. But it requires the collective use of several different models. Yes, certainly Revit architecture structure and MEP, but also CATIA and SAP structural analysis. So some reflections, I wouldn't say conclusions, reflections. To my mind, BIM is now beyond being a software toy. You know, when I was starting to play with it, work with it 10 or so years ago, we couldn't understand why people wouldn't take it seriously. Well, it's because there was no business imperative for it. I think that's now there, or coming fairly fast. I firmly believe that clients are, maybe not the one for Tottenham Court Road, but an increasing number of clients are beginning to understand the potential for BIM techniques to give them increased value for money, reduced waste, and provide a lifetime journey for a project. Major software providers are certainly responding. It's only relatively recently, in the last few years, that they've listened to the industry and or maybe the clients, and have come up with robust suites. But there are still a number of challenges on liability training, and that includes training of management people, training of the marketers, the salesmen for construction. It's no good just training the CAD operators turned modelers. We're getting some new types of contract, IPD, perhaps integrated project delivery. They're still in their infancy, and I think it remains to be seen whether, for BIM really to flower, we need to flip to a new set of contracts, or whether we can live within the established frameworks. Thank you.